Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, you know me. My name is Dr. Keith McNally, and this is Coach's Corner. I'm here with Dr. Troy Hall, and Dr. Troy Hall is going to talk about what he does professionally. Now, you know him. He's been on the Question Guy podcast a couple of times, but this is special because I just found out something really spectacular about you, and you were recognized as one of the top 20 professionals in 2023. To clarify that for me, what's going on with you?
Yeah, so Valiant CEO magazine recognized me as one of the top 20 business leaders to spy on in 2023. How
Wait,
about
wait,
that?
wait, wait, wait.
I feel like a spy. I feel like I should say like James Bond, I should be going like, I'm Hall, Dr. Hall, or something like that, like Bond, James Bond,
So
spy on.
what is that? So what does that mean in their terms and maybe even in your terms to spy on you?
To watch.
I mean, I
They're
get
really,
that, but
yeah.
what are we watching for? Like, what are you doing that's so special that you are recognized?
The work that I do with the Cohesion Culture program is our trademark program that provides all the leadership development programs that help organizations retain talent within their companies. And so it's not only guiding the leaders to do it, but also providing the necessary materials for the employees as well. We're an award-winning program. We have several organizations who have adopted our program, who have transformed their culture to a top culture or a best place to work, received awards and recognitions as a result of that. So I think some of that work certainly stood out uh, and really made a difference. Plus, we launched the very first Cohesion Culture Conference in 2023, which
Wait, when
was
was that?
really awesome. So
When was
that
that?
was where or when?
When?
When? It was just a few days ago.
Oh, cool. Can you talk about that?
Yeah,
Well,
sure
actually,
can.
before you do, I want to go back. So you're now an award-winning professional, and your cohesion culture program process is making companies award-winning companies. Do I get that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you be more
So
excited about that?
well, okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, I am excited about it. It
Okay,
is, it
yeah,
is
because
great. Great.
that is fantastic. So what is your talk to me about your conference?
So
Your
the conference, in this case, brought together a group of HR professionals here locally in Charleston, South Carolina, under the Prometo SHRM program. And we had a sellout of 70 people into the conference. And it's a very different experience. It is interactive. It is experiential learning. As a matter of fact, we promote the conference that it is no trust falls, rope courses, or death by PowerPoint.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and the activities really, so we kind of marry the academic concepts of leadership and what we want to get out in the areas of communication, collaboration, conflict resolution, and creative thinking. We feel that those are four C's that really organizations deal with. A lot of the C-suite specifically deal with that, and these were HR professionals, some of which who deserve a seat on the C-suite, and some who may not necessarily be there yet. But the idea is to do activities that demonstrate the concepts so that they can remember those concepts and they can take those concepts back to their organizations and do them. And all the activities that we do are all easy for people to replicate when they go back. So part of the program deals with creating connection before content, which is one of the primary things that we always start with, because we believe that culture is built in how you treat people, not the treats you give them. So we always believe in the connection. And then we're teaching how you take these connections and build them into like an onboarding experience, how you build it into leadership coaching, and just a variety of programs that reinforce what they need to know to be successful in their jobs.
So I'm curious now, when a client company or somebody comes to you and says, Dr. Troy Hall, my, my place is a mess. I don't even know how they begin that conversation with you, but at some point, do you ever set expectations for your clients in order for them to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, per se, that if you follow these strategies, positive things can happen?
Yes. So part of the program is taking a look at their overall culture wellness. And I do it through a little program called C.A.P.E.S because you know me, I like little superheroes. So I like that little concept. And C.A.P.E.S, of course, are optional, except for when it comes to the cohesion culture program, and then C.A.P.E.S are necessary. That's because it stands for C, which is your cultural discovery. So you discover what is happening with your culture and the organization. That might be looking at your core values and establishing whether they are truly set up to not only describe them, but to also express the belief system behind the value, the attitude that is displayed for that core value, and then what is the behaviors that you specifically want. So that's part of your cultural discovery and part of what that's like. Then the next thing is your assessment. And so we have a culture assessment tool where you can level set or benchmark where your culture is before we do a lot of activity. And that gives you a good place to work from to be able to determine, is what I'm doing valuable and making a difference? We also, in that assessment, we provide leadership assessment tools to individuals. Some are self-directed, some are done electronically through a qualified program that gives the leader information that can be used to develop leader action plans. Next, we look at the plan. What is the plan that needs to happen? So part of a cohesion culture is really infusing cohesion into the culture. We call it cohesion culture because it's a trademark name. It gives us something to call it, people to identify it. But what we're really doing is we're not making every culture exactly the same, but what we are doing is infusing cohesion into every culture. So that plan then says, how are we doing it? How are we infusing cohesion using the strategic elements of belonging, value, and shared mutual commitment? So that plan should take a look and say, for belonging, how are you creating inclusion activities that make that individual not only feel like they belong, that they're really included? When it comes to value, it's not just the respect and how you treat people, which is very important, but it's, does that individual have meaningful work? Do they know what their work value is? Do they understand how that work contributes to what others are doing in the organization? And they're not just isolated, only, you know, deciding to do something or not do something, but realizing that doing something or not doing something could impact someone else either positively or negatively. So, and then the last is a shared mutual commitment, and that's building a collaborative work team where individuals agree that they need each other and they will trust that each other will do their jobs. So that's where we start putting that plan together, taking a look at, hey, here's our cultural discovery. Here's some assessment we've done. Now we have a plan. And then the E is the educational journey that the individual company takes. That educational journey can take several components. That's where I come in as a consultant and as an executive or performance coach. So I work with executives and their teams, their managers and supervisors to make sure that the material that we teach is actually being enforced and used. And when I say enforced, I don't mean like as a hard hand, but what we find is that oftentimes people will go to a training program and when they come back, there's no support. Either the company doesn't know how to support it, it's either too complicated, it's too complex, they're not really sure what to do. So through the Cohesion Culture program, we use coaching to supplement that activity and ensure that it's sustainable after they come back. So those are the education pieces. Coaching is a big part of it. And we also teach how the individual leaders coach their direct reports. That's a very important part of the process. And then the S is sustainability. What will you do to sustain what you have created in your organization? And it sometimes requires you to use our online program. Many of our companies use our online 5-module program. It's self-paced over 5 weeks. So once individuals have taken that course and have had done some work, when new employees come in, they take the course, and then we do a cohort training with them every quarter so that those individuals are now brought up to speed. Somebody's reinforcing with them. It just builds this entire machine that just keeps, you know, keeps working toward the goal, because it's never over. You can't just all of a sudden say, hey, I'm done, I'm finished. Some of that sustainability also includes programs like mentoring, making sure that there's a mentor program, which is a little different than coaching, but certainly in that same vein. Also looking at something called organizational internship. An organizational internship is when you give individuals who work in an organization an opportunity to see what it's like to work in another part of the company without them leaving that role or their current role or their current job.
Hmm.
We recommend that for individuals who are identified as high potential employees, and we help you figure out what that looks like, or you may already have a plan that says, hey, I know what my high potential employee looks like. A high potential employee, for people listening, is different than a successor. Successor is an individual who's in that line of work who might be the next in line for moving up if the individual supervisor or leader leaves. High potential employee says, I can go into another department or another area because I have leadership skills. I know enough about that particular job to be okay. I don't have to have done it before to be good at leading it. I have to have good leadership skills. And do I have the ability to think enterprise wide? So high potential employees are sometimes viewed more enterprise wide because you can plug them into areas. All of this is really all designed to help organizations retain their talent. So we don't want, once you spend all that money and effort to get the talent, we don't want that talent to be gone. So spending time investing in their development, in their growth, their advancement opportunities are important. And I'll just give you this one statistic, but when I first started the program in 2019, 63% of employees expected growth, development, and advancement. Today, that number has been revalidated at 71%. So that means that there's still this growing demand for individuals to say, please develop me. I don't want to just come into the job and just be here. I want to know that there could be a potential future. I want to be prepared for the next position. These individuals aren't saying, hey, look, I need to be the CEO. I need to be in charge, promote me or else. They're saying, look, I want to be prepared. What we also found out with a little more digging in some of that research is those individuals also have a propensity to work for a company that is future driven, that says that, oh, my safety, security, and protection in this job can be here because you are going to be a forward-thinking company, and I'm not just going to lose my job tomorrow because you did a bunch of crazy things today.
I don't have any more questions because you pretty much answered them all, but that was fantastic. And so I did appreciate the fact that you really emphasize sustainability, digging in and looking at things from the long haul, both from corporation wide and from each individual who's actually working at the company. Can they build a process that sustains success at the person level, at the organization level, at the corporate level? I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I did have a question. When somebody does come to you and says, my company is really, it needs to be fixed, do you ever tell them it's going to take a long time to fix it? Or because sometimes people just want that magic wand, they want things done
Yeah.
overnight. And we know that's not humanly possible. And we probably shouldn't want that to be possible because there's so much to get goes into building culture.
Yeah.
So
So I work,
go ahead.
yeah, I'm pretty straightforward. I let people know that there will be, there's a time commitment to it, but I also want to work with them based on their journey and what they're committed to with their journey. So if they go at this fully, meaning that they want to adopt the philosophies of belonging, value, and shared mutual commitment, that's really what I need from them as a commitment. And then I can help supplement the things that they're doing. And oftentimes, some of the programs I do will supplement where they already have like a very engaged computer-based training program, or maybe they're an award-winning training shop. And so therefore, they've got a lot of material and curriculum that they're already doing for their folks. And what we do then is just work with the leadership to make sure that the leadership is infused and all the other pieces that are already presented in the company can already still be utilized. And part of our job then is to say, how are you utilizing those other tools that you have in the company? So it's really a mixture between take the full program and put it in, or let's take the pieces that really make sense and do it. I get a lot of attention toward coaching. I'm coaching 38 employees right now today, or 38 executives or individuals, managers, supervisors, trainers, individuals that fit into that category. And so that just shows those organizations are serious about helping those individuals level up into the space where they need to be. And we work through a series of worksheets that I have, or we work on the leadership assessment because they've taken the leadership assessment, and now that assessment is guiding some of those conversations that I need to have with them. Sometimes it's about what they want to achieve. It's always important for me to make sure that in coaching, and this is something that's a little different for me, you have to coach at least to one strength. So I'm not a fix-it guy. So I'm not coming in to fix people. What I'm coming in to do is to help people be better. And so to do that, or to improve, depending upon whatever that better or that improve means to that individual. And it's to really to level up. But we need a strength, because if you spend all your time focusing on weaknesses, you may never move the needle as far or as great as you would like. And I'll give you just a small demonstration, and you and I can do this. Even if people don't see this ever visually, they'll understand what I'm talking about. So take your hands and bring them chest height, and just do some motion with them, like do them in a circular fashion. Just circle them, doesn't matter, whatever is happening. Now, this is what it's like when you're working on something that you don't do very well. You're actually just, okay, I'm working on it, I'm working on it.
I'm
Notice
thinking
your
about it.
body. Yeah,
What?
and you're thinking about it. Notice your body, right? Now pick a strength, and what I want you to do is now take those hands as you're moving them, and I want you to move them up. And look what happens with your body. Your body raises up. What we find is that when you focus on a strength, all of your weaknesses also can move up, whether you've worked on them individually or not. So
Huh?
we really I always want to make sure that we're focusing on some strength that you're doing, and continuing to work to make it, to really elevate it in some way. And it also provides great positive value. I know you mentioned before about the books, Cohesion Culture is the one we're talking about, but in Fanny Rules, there's a lesson that's called Sink, Swim, or Tread Water. And basically, for me, the concept is that when you're treading water, I can expend a lot of energy to stay in one place. That's treading water.
Mhm.
I could expend no energy and sink to the bottom. Not an option. But my better option would be is if I put my head down and started moving my arms and legs with the same energy, but with a forward motion, I can actually move somewhere, which is the concept of swimming. So that to me is why it's so important to focus on strengths in your development program and not just on weaknesses, because I don't want to just tread water. I actually want to swim and get somewhere.
Well, that's a really good analogy or metaphor, whatever's the appropriate term. I do have one more question, and it's only because of time. Earlier, or actually the first thing that we talked about in this conversation was you are the man to watch, or officially to spy on. So, Dr. Troy Hall, how can we spy on you in 2023? Where are you going to be that we can watch you do your thing?
Well, let's see, you can attend a number of conferences that I might be speaking at, since I'm keynoting several of those, probably, I think about 30
Okay.
this year so far, scheduled for 2023. But you can find me real easily in social media at Dr. Troy Hall. So just 10 little letters that you have to remember, and a little at sign that'll get you to me, either on Facebook or Instagram. Also LinkedIn, big presence on LinkedIn. I have a newsletter on LinkedIn. Please subscribe to my newsletter. It comes out every other week. A lot of really good information that's going to help organizations and leaders develop in those areas of the things that I talk about. Some of the stuff that we just mentioned right now through this conversation.
Cool.
And you can also find me on the website at drtroyhall.com. So there you got 13 letters
Absolutely. And I have
and
subscribed
a
to
dot
your
and a
and I
dot.
have subscribed to your newsletter on LinkedIn because that's where you
Yeah.
find me most of the time. Dr. Troy Hall, thank you so much for this conversation. For those of you who are listening, thank you for joining us. This has been another edition of Coach's Corner. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you.